Let's talk college football because we got two teams in town that got issues here. This is quite a story. San Diego State's wrapped up spring football. It's been a really intriguing 15 practices as they get to the red and black scrimmage. The big storyline with Brady Hoke, he's got a major rebuild job in front of him. Not talking about it a great deal, but he's got to rebuild his offensive line. He's got to get 3 new starters. He lost his top lineman who jumped into the transfer portal. Won't talk about why, but this is the second blue chip recruit within a year because the quarterback Will Haskell left prior to that. Now Josh Simmons is vacated. He raved about the 6'7", 310-pound right tackle. He played all this year, and suddenly he's gone. So he's got to replace 3 offensive linemen. He's got to replace 2 wide receivers who've graduated. They're still trying to model and mold. The quarterback, Jalen Mayden's come back for 1 extra year. He's got to replace all 3 of his defensive line starters. He's got to replace 2 starters at linebacker. That's a lot. A lot of young guys are going to have to step to the forefront. So he's got to rebuild this roster. And I tend to think San Diego State's got to rebuild its credibility within the community because they got a lot of issues based on what happened all last year. A lot of issues with the failed opening of Snapdragon Stadium. They play a great home schedule. My goodness, if you like college football, you ought to buy a season ticket and just participate. I mean, they get Boise here, Fresno here, Nevada here, and they get UCLA here.
And Ohio.
And it's a hell of a non-conference schedule and a conference league schedule at home. But so they got to rebuild roster, rebuild credibility. The other team in town, and I don't like the way this looks at the University of San Diego. They sent out a glowing press release on Wednesday. 80-year-old head coach Dale Lindsey's done a phenomenal job, 80-30 in his career, 7 Pioneer League titles for the non-scholarship program. Took him to the 1AA playoffs where they'd never ever been before. Dale Lindsey press release announces he is retiring. All these accolades, all the things he accomplished. He comes back Wednesday night, tells the media, I have not bleeping retired. I was fired. No reason given. I walked into the athletic department, met with the AD. He says, we're making a coaching change. End of discussion. So this really looks bad at the university to do this to a guy who is 80-30. Granted, he is 80 years of age. I don't know whether or not there's going to be litigation about this over, quote, age discrimination. But I know this. The Bill McGillis, the athletic director, said a year ago, Dale Lindsey can coach here as long as he wants. And now he's out. And this looks bad for the former AD who's now in the upper echelon of the operation of the university, Kai Snyder, because he had to sign off on this. To me, it's a really strange way to do business. And Dale Lindsey's old school coach, no doubt about it, crusty. But you listen to the players talk about his values, how he taught them. Dale Lindsey, played for the Cleveland Browns, old school linebacker, longtime assistant coach in the NFL, multiple tours with the Chargers, including the defense that got him to the Super Bowl in the Junior Seau era, Washington Redskins coordinator. To me, it's just a bad look for the university that a year after you said he could coach here as long as he wants, you're doing this to him with no rationale and no reason. You won't answer any questions aside from the fact he's 80 years of age. So you tell me.
Yeah, and that's amazing. I mean, both circumstances are interesting. But with USD, I mean, they had a lot of trouble with the basketball program some time ago with the previous, regime and some of the
Lamont Smith.
Yeah, all that.
Bill McGillis hire.
So you figure the football side of the equation, you figured ain't broke, don't fix it. So while you're monkeying around there, just focus on getting basketball right. But when it goes to the Aztecs too, it's interesting how Brian Dutcher and Brady Hoke are different, right? I mean, Dutcher is able to keep his guys, very few transfer out. He's able to rebuild every year, but there seems to be a lot of disarray with the football program.
Well, in basketball, you're talking 5 starters in a 12-man roster. College football, you're talking 22 starters in a 105-man roster. And the NIL and the transfer portal, I think, has really impacted a lot of football. I'm hoping that what we saw last year at San Diego State was a, quote, one-off, that this thing will bounce back. And this USD thing, I don't think we've heard the end of the story yet. All right, one final comment here about